Hi everyone, welcome to Koan's Kitchen. For the first video of this channel, I would like to share with you guys how I make soda bread. Soda bread is very quick and easy to make. I make it once a week for myself and my partner. The basic ingredients are usually just plain flour, baking soda, buttermilk, and salt. My version is slightly different because I can't find buttermilk near where I live, so I have to make my own. I also like to play with the texture of the bread with different combinations of flour. For example, I tried replacing half the plain flour with cake flour, and the result is more crumbly and more cake-like. My partner likes that a lot. I can't say I like it as much. I like my bread to have a little bit more texture, so my recipe actually replaces some of the plain flour with bread flour. So if you're not a fan of crumbly bread like me, I think you will like my recipe. But even if you are, well, there's no harm in trying my recipe either. You may be surprised and like it too.
The ingredients of my soda bread includes 200 g of bread flour, 300 g of plain flour, 7 g of baking soda, 8 g of cream of tartar, 7 g of salt, and 400 ml of whole milk. To make the bread, first line a baking tray with baking paper and dust it with some extra plain flour. Then, preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius with fan, which is approximately 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, weigh and put all the dry ingredients into one mixing bowl. Now, mix all the dry ingredients well with one of your hands, and after that, make a well in the center. I like to use one of my hands only because then I have one clean hand to hold the bowl safely, and if I need it, I can use the clean hand to put things away and also turn on the tap when I need to wash my hands. Now, you can pour the whole milk into the center. When the milk comes into contact with the cream of tartar in the mixture, it will form the buttermilk, which then reacts with the baking soda, forming bubbles of carbon dioxide. These tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide will be the raising agent of the soda bread and expand when you put it in the oven, and creating texture of the bread that you like. And if you like your bread to have a softer texture, you can actually pour in a little bit more whole milk, say 4 to 5 ml. The extra moisture will give your bread a softer texture. Now, mix all the ingredients together. When you mix it, try to bring in the flour at the edge to the center. And the more you mix it, the more gluten will form in the dough and brings everything together. Now, this is an optional step. Some people like to shape the dough before putting it into the oven, so that after it's baked, it would look nicer and tidier. To do that, you have to dust the table and your hand with plain flour. After that, tip the dough out of the bowl onto the table. Try to scrape as much dough as you can onto the table because you don't want to waste those beautiful dough that you just mixed. Then, dust the dough with more plain flour. Soda bread dough is very sticky. By putting more plain flour, when you shape it, it will not stick to your fingers too much. And after you dust the dough, you shape around the edges and make it into a nice round shape. After that, flip the dough over and then tuck the edges of the dough under. Now you can see that the dough is very well shaped. Then, transfer the dough onto the baking tray that you prepared in the beginning. Again, shaping the dough is really an optional process. To be honest, I don't usually do it because, as you can see, it uses a lot more plain flour. And second, I have to clean the table afterwards. If I can avoid it, I don't really mind that much about the appearance of my bread. That's why usually after I mix the dough, I will transfer it directly onto the baking tray, dust some plain flour and tidy around the edges there, and then that's it. And trust me, the appearance is not bad either. And once the dough is on the tray, use a knife to cut a deep cross on the dough and open the gap a little bit. This helps with cooking the middle of the dough and it will rise nicely in the oven. Otherwise, it may crack at unexpected places. And after you cut the cross, prick the four corners, which I believe to be the Irish custom to let the fairies out and ensure nothing bad happens. And once you did that, send it to the oven and bake for 30 to 35 minutes. 30 minutes has passed. Now I'm taking the bread out of the oven. As you can see, it has a nice golden color. Transfer the bread onto the cooling rack to cool down further. If you want to make sure the bread is done, you can knock on it and you should hear a hollow sound like a drum. But trust me, 30 minutes or 35 minutes is definitely more than enough. Now I'm going to cut a slice of the bread just to let you see how it cuts and the texture of it. Usually I put butter and jam on the slice of the soda bread for a snack or for breakfast really, and I think the combination is really nice and I recommend you trying it. As you can see here, the bread outside is very crispy, and for the inside you can see it has a soft and nice texture.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please remember to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more baking and cooking videos in the future. Comment down below and tell me what you think about the recipe, or even better, share your own version of soda bread with me. Until then, see you next time in Cohen's Kitchen.